So let's take a couple of minutes before we leap into Barbarians, Nerdy Teacher, and salvaging in the mud, cursing. I'm sure the child was cursing. He's not a child, but I'm sure he was cursing. Let's take a moment because it's been the subject on everybody's mind. And, I see why I couldn't do it. I was in the wrong thing. I was in creator in my channel, so I couldn't see myself. Hello, McGrease. So Nerdy Teacher has been following up really well with everything that's happening with ODL, Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro, Nintendo, and all of us. And so I just want to hear your latest take here. How are you feeling about things, and what can you tell us as an update, just to refresh anybody's mind or answer questions that somebody might have?
Well, if anyone has any questions, absolutely put them in chat. I don't know all the answers. I just know what I've seen. But Friday, there was a new update that basically said Wizards of the Coast was going to keep the original OGL, and they added something to it. I wasn't quite sure what it meant, but basically going forward, third-party content creators could choose what license they wanted to be under, whether it be an old one or a new one that they're making. And basically that was a hallelujah for all of the D&D content creators out there, that they could keep doing what they've been doing. So it's good. And I'm very, very happy that a huge company has actually listened to the people. That is amazing. So many people stood up. So many people made content on social media about it. So many people called the company, emailed them, and they listened. I just hope it's not too little too late and they haven't burned all of the goodwill that they've had in the community for years. You know, they've had their issues. They had some really racist things pop up in some, of their books recently. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are complaining about the quality of their books lately. And then for this to happen, a lot of people have jumped ship and are like, well, good for them, but I'm not coming back. I will admit that through that whole debacle, I got so upset. Wizards of the Coast, I went out and bought a Pathfinder 2nd edition book, and I'm going to read it. And I'm going to learn how to play it. But I still love D&D. We talked about that 2 weekends ago, how D&D is amazing. We've talked about how it's therapies for some people, how it's brought people together. Heck, some of my best friends are people that I play with every week. Yeah. So we're going to keep playing D&D, but maybe Wizards of the Coast won't see a lot of my money in the future. We'll see how it goes.
Well, and that's an interesting part of the...
Optimistic.
An interesting part of that whole debacle is that your money and Pixel's money and the other dungeon master money in the country was really basically the money they saw. The majority of us players, down printed character sheets off our computer, right? Or played online through whatever the DM told us, and we bought dice and dice bags and funny hats and, whatever. But yeah, they really messed with their number one monetary base of support when they mess with dungeon masters. Yes, McReese, I think because of low earnings or whatever, a quarter dive or whatever, I know that what was it, like 400,000 or something, D&D Beyond subscriptions got dropped in one day, which would be like $1.4 million or something. So yes, we all stood up, but it would have been the financial thing that would have slowed them down. One of the things that I think, well, there are a couple of positives I see in this. I think you reading 2E is great, because even if you continue to play 5E, you may find things in 2E that you want to add to 5E. It just broadens your base of what you can pull on. Pixel is going to continue to play 5E, but he has also been encouraged and has made the decision by this event. He was encouraged to look outside of 5E and try some other gaming platforms. And I think gaming is better when people know more different ways to play. So I'm looking forward. He's going to do Stars Without Numbers and Kids on Brooms, 2 other gaming platforms. And he's inviting DMs to go along that journey with him, to maybe go in as players and learn about it. So if you're interested in that, Nerdy Teacher, he's created a Discord chat group about it that sort of peels off of our Bonus Mom's Tavern, and I'm sure he would add you to it if you're not already there, just to find out. So that's another thing. More platforms and more exposure to more different kinds of games is good. And then what's the word to use? Hey, Black Moon, good afternoon. We are awakened. I'm going to say awakened, okay, to okay, so this is our community and our sacred world, and we love Dungeons and Dragons, and we darn well better protect it. And I don't think they're going to catch us sleeping anytime soon now. That we're all paying attention, and we're playing, even down to the player level. We're really paying attention now. It's like, don't mess with us, okay? So I think that could possibly be a positive thing, too. So we're going to be encouraged, but we're going to be wary, right?
Yes. Especially with what McReese said. It is true. I've looked into it. Hasbro, not Wizards of the Coast, but Hasbro has laid off, I believe, 15% of all of their employees because they have taken a financial hit. I think, based on my reading, and I may not be correct, so don't quote me, they were expecting more financial windfall with changing the OGL, and since it's not happening, and they lost a lot of money with D&D Beyond, they have laid off people, which a bad decision from the higher tiers affects the lowest tiers. And
sure,
that sucks. It happens all the time in the corporate world, which is why I'm happy that Wizards of the Coast is listening, but I'm also upset that they had to listen to us. Like, what was wrong with it in the first place?
Yeah, there you go.
So it sucks. Yeah, you're right, Black Moon. It sucks. But due to underperforming on the last quarter of 2022. Yeah, well, it's Hasbro messed up, and now people are without a job, and that sucks.
Well, and it could be that the underperforming was for other reasons, too, and as a result of that, that's one reason why they looked at the cash cow and said, how can we get some more of that? So, so some of those layoffs may have been inevitable regardless, but of course, it's the folks on the lower end of the totem pole that get the crunch every single time. Miss Sneaky Ninja, miss the drama. Does chat have a quick recap? I just got here. We are just chewing up the ODL situation, and that Hasbro is backing off, and we're not into Barbarian yet, but we're headed that way. I think we're going to leave this one, and I'll encourage you, Sneaky, if you want to ask more questions, come on into the Discord later and do that. But I think I wanted to take 5 minutes to do that, because it's on everybody's mind. But what we are really here today is to get back on track talking about characters and building strong characters to play Dungeons and Dragons. And we started with we started with Fighter. Then we moved to Rogue, and now we're into Barbarian. There we go.
Yeah. So, Barbarians are fun and very popular. And again, the reason that we're starting with Fighter, Rogue, and now Barbarian is when we started this, we decided, okay, if people are getting into D&D and they're just starting with 5e before all this fiasco happened, what characters could they start with that would be the easiest to learn? And we started with Fighter. Then we went to Rogue, which is, Fighter plus a little sneak attack. Fewer attacks than Fighter, but now we're getting into Barbarian, which is, again, another melee character, mostly. No magic yet. But they get a few more flavors added, which make them really fun, in my opinion. But Bonus Mom, have you ever played a Barbarian before?
Yes, I played a Barbarian early on. I went this route. I was Fighter, and then a Rogue, and then the next thing I picked up was Barbarian. And that's when I started to play with Vincent Page, actually, our gaming friend from up north of us. We played, the Lost something of Phandelver. Lost Mine, is it, of Phandelver? Nice. We played part of that adventure. We did it online. It actually predates. No, I'm taking that back. That is not right. It was the one at his table I played. It was a homebrew adventure, excuse me. But I did. I played Tiny, a Goliath Barbarian.
What was their name?
His name was Tiny, and he was a Goliath barbarian. Clever little name.
I love that so much. I think I've heard you mention that before, and I love that. Just the irony of the name. Who gave him his name?
I did.
Well, yeah. I mean, like in his backstory.
Oh, okay. Well, he was a Goliath, and he had wandered away from his tribe looking for adventure, and he was angry. Every barbarian is, right, almost. Yeah. He wasn't satisfied with things at home, so he went out and started running around with humans, and they named him, just humans in general, named him Tiny. He was very gruff, not very talkative, which was a little tough for me to play, but I was completely intimidated at the table where I was. It was Vincent Page and Pixel and members of their band and Vincent Page's uncle, and I was so intimidated. This was like the second actual table I ever sat down at, and I was just terror-stricken.
Oh, okay, I see. And that can come into play. I know my first time sitting down at an actual table, my character, I didn't know what personality I wanted her to have, but when I got there, I was intimidated. So my character became the very shy, quiet type because I didn't want to talk. And sometimes that happens, and I think it happens more often than not to new players.
Well, but, I see that McReese is saying that she's playing a gnome barbarian in Doc's newbie campaign. And see, that never occurred to me. I thought if I'm a barbarian, I must be big. But I think the idea of playing little barbarians is just adorable. So I just wanted to throw that in.
There's a D&D TikToker, now a YouTuber, called One Shot Questers. And one of his first TikToks was about a gnome barbarian coming in and kicking the butt of the BBEG. And it was hilarious. That brought me, I thought the same thing, Goliath, barbarian, human barbarian. It's got to be somebody, big and tall. But having a halfling barbarian, that's just funny.
Yeah.
But I love the gnome barbarian. And you are absolutely right, because when you look up anything about barbarians, the first thing that it mentions is your rage. And I'm looking at D&D 5e wiki. For some, their rage springs from a communion with fierce animal spirits. Others draw from a roiling reservoir of anger at a world full of pain. It's a trope at this point. Just every barbarian is angry.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. How do you want to start this today? What do you want to talk about?
Well, we're getting a little bit shared in chat about some other barbarians that people have played, and I've shared a little bit about mine. I'm going to take a minute here, and we're just going to review what it is that we're aiming for. In the course of that, I want to ask you, am I right that you took notes on our first couple of things, our other two players? Because I am not sure I got these recorded and that they got saved. So you can tell me who they are and what the backstory is a little bit.
I can if I find the right notebook.
That's okay. You don't have to look for it now. But one of the things that we would really like to accomplish in this, and it kind of started to develop as we started doing it, is about two more, right? We need maybe cleric and wizard. And then we're going to have enough to do a table full of players. And we talked to Nerdy Teacher, because she's a much better DM than Bonus Mommy is, about the possibility of coming up. And I think we're going to pull another TikToker and community friend, Biorvio, into this and come up with an adventure that's going to use these characters that we're working on. And so we want to build this barbarian today. We want to talk about what makes a good barbarian, a strong barbarian, and then we're actually going to choose for this barbarian a backstory, a name, some motivations. Is this barbarian angry? Why? What are they looking for? And we're going to work into the backstory also. So gnomes are underrepresented. Okay, so maybe we want to make a gnome barbarian today. That could be fun and kind of different and interesting. So let's get Nerdy Teacher to clue us in as to what we're looking for, how to roll up a good barbarian, and what are some of the choices we have. I think between levels 1 and 5, we don't need to go much further than that. That would, when you start getting to upper levels and all the goodies they get, we almost are looking at additional talks, because it's hard, I think, for a player to appreciate what an upper level player gets to do until you're there.
Absolutely.
First, you got to see if you can live through level 4, right, before you start doing the upper stuff. So I'm hoping we start out with tell us about barbarians and what to look for and where to put our numbers and just things like that when we're rolling up a barbarian.
So here's the good news. Barbarians are the most likely to live past level 4. They have a lot going for them that makes them very tough to kill. So if you want somebody to survive, it's probably going to be a barbarian. I mean, when we get to wizards and sorcerers and so on, they are very squishy, as we like to say in the D&D community. But barbarians are an absolute tank. If you want to be a damage dealer and a damage tanker, then barbarian is a class that you might want to look into. First off, they get more HP than anybody. When you are trying to decide how many hit points, HP, that your character has, you can roll for it, or you can take a standard amount every time you level up. But barbarians get the most HP with every level up. So while everyone else might be in the 60s or 70s, you're going to have a character who's already in triple digits of hit points. And they do need it because they're going to be frontline fighters. But they tend to be very strong. They, let's put it this way. When you're thinking about doing a barbarian, strength and constitution are very important to you. You want to be strong, and constitution will depend on will allow you to have a higher AC for barbarian and your hit points. And you also want to be dexterous, so you can kind of dodge out of the way. So you already have 3 things that you want to be very strong. I apologize. My dog is digging in the bed, trying to find a soft spot to lay down.
You're fine. We're just seeing a little bit of a fluffy tail wag by.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But since you're already worried about strength, dex, and constitution being high, that tends to leave intelligence, wisdom, and charisma as your lowest. So some people consider it a trope. Some people say that you don't have to have a dumb barbarian, but most barbarians aren't the most intelligent or wise or charismatic creatures out there. Just something to think about when you go into this.
But that's really true of all of us.
Not being very talkative. Oh, you shush.
That's true of all of us if we allow ourselves to be guided by anger and rage, though. Think about in your own personal life, when you're so mad you can't see straight, you don't make good decisions. So that fits. Poor old barbarians.
I think he wants to be on camera. That's the problem. You upset you're not on camera? All right. And you're right. Yeah. And that is something that happens to barbarians, because if you multi-class in a barbarian and the other class you have is something that can cast spells, as soon as you rage, you can no longer cast your spells anymore. So it is a mindless thing. McRee says they're quickly becoming a favorite of mine. Yep, barbarians are fun to play, though.
Well, and I was reading up on... I reread the intro, in the player's handbook today just before we started, and I thought, I want to play a barbarian. I'm playing this druid in Castle Wren, and I kind of wish I were playing a barbarian after I look at it. So,
well, every class has their, features that you enjoy, but if you want to be like a mindless attacker in combat, and then maybe for role play, you have to play up, maybe slightly dumb or making not the wisest of choices, then that makes for a very fun character to have at the table. Not for everybody if you're running in gung-ho Leroy Jenkins style, but...
But see, I kind of think of Leroy Jenkins...
What I mean by that, let me know.
I kind of think of Leroy as being the epitome of a barbarian. It's just you run in the front and you start bashing.
Exactly. But when you start, you gotta consider strength and constitution as your highest, because those are going to be the most important skills for a barbarian, with dexterity being right behind. So, like I said, those 3 are going to be crucial for you. But you can when you start off as a barbarian, you can wear armor if you want, but barbarians also have something called unarmored defense, which means your AC will actually be a higher number if you don't wear armor. Doesn't mean you have to be naked, but you can't. If you're not wearing like leather armor or even plate mail, you have a higher AC because it will be your 10 plus your dex modifier plus your constitution modifier. And if you start with a humble 15 and 14 in those, your AC will be 15 right off the bat. So just at level 1, 15, high hit points, you're making a pretty strong character.
Well, you really are, particularly if you're starting out at level 1, because you're going to be running up against goblins and bugbears and a few things like that, and they're not going to have that much hit power, and that's going to give you that opportunity to get in close and do some damage without taking too much yourself, because they're not going to be able to hit you.
Right. So you want to be able to hit hard and then be dexterous enough that you don't get hit. But when people think of barbarians, they think of the rage. Mm-hmm. That's probably the first thing that comes to mind. So when you were playing your barbarian, did you rage often?
Well, every time I remembered it, I did pretty well with rages. It's when you get into, there's rage, there's frenzy, and there's reckless frenzy or reckless rage or something. Those three things I found very confusing as a new player.
Okay, so we'll definitely talk about that. Rage is something that you get at level 1, and it's a bonus action. So when you go into combat, you don't have to give up your attacks to go into a rage. It's just a simple bonus action. Yes, sir. I know. We call my dog the Barbarian, so that's why he's probably talking a lot today. We're talking about you? Yes. But,
funny.
Yeah, I know. He's being talkative today. When you feel the anger coming on with your character, then you can go into this rage. And maybe something sparks the rage, like your friend gets attacked or the enemy has insulted your mother or something. But I have seen people who play barbarians who try not to rage because they're working on their anger issues. They're trying very hard not to go into a rage. But when you do gain a lot of benefits. First of all, when you get hurt, you take half damage from bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing damage, which is basically what you're going to hit with at low levels. You're probably not getting a fireball on your barbarian at level 1 unless your DM's a sadist. Then they're out there. But you also get advantage on things that involve your strength. So whether it's a save or check, or you're trying to climb something, or you're trying to grapple somebody so that they can't, attack your friends, you get advantage on that. And plus you get to do a little extra damage with your attacks. So that's always good too. Let's see.
And from a role-playing point of view, I know now looking back on it when I played this rage, I would just say, okay, I'm going into a rage. And your table would benefit, and you would, and it would help you motivationally. I see that McGree says that whenever her character goes into a rage, she tells a hammer pun. Is to have a reason, like you said, a reason for why you're going into this rage, instead of just like, I go into a rage. It's why. What in the fight did somebody hurt your friend or step on your toe, or you're surprised and angry, so I'm thinking, looking back on it, I could have worked on the role-playing aspect of that a lot more than I did. So that's something to consider, is if you will take your actions and your bonus actions and role-play them, it really adds to what's happening at the table.
That is fair. From a role play perspective, that is awesome. McReese, I need to see some hammer puns in the chat now. Read them to see how bad they are. But definitely. Anyone who doesn't know me, puns are a weak point. They cause me psychic damage.
Oh, dear.
As I say. But, of course, a lot of people know Critical Role from Grog strong jaw being the first like dumb barbarian that they get exposed to, and when he gets angry he would say, I would like to rage, and that became a whole thing.
Yeah.
And some players have their own thing. My husband right now has a barbarian, and his character does not speak, but when he gets angry, all my husband does is he has this little red ring that says rage on it. He got it 3D printed. He just brings it out, slowly puts it on his mini, and goes, that's all he does, because his character doesn't really talk. So it's just like, oh no, now we know. Let's see. Husk equals drama fluke. Yes, the Huskies equal drama flukes. Yes. He
Very
has a
much
tennis ball
so.
now, so now he is happy. But you get unarmored defense and rage right off the bat. You don't have to wait for level 2, level 3, nothing. You get that at level 1, and already you're pretty strong when it comes to battle.
Well, it's crucial too, because if one of your players at your table is being what Nerdy Teacher referred to as a squishy player, a wizard, whereas the in a level 1, the barbarian can start out with 12 hit points or more. Sometimes the wizard has like 6, 7, and so the wizard has got to stay back, stay away, hope that they can throw a spell or two and do some damage. And depending on what you're up against, wizards, it's really easy to take them out. So if that barbarian can step in there in the front, yes, they take the damage in comparison to the other players, and they protect the other players. So while there's the whole anger aspect, right, there's also the mighty and strong, I'll do it, I'll save the day, and does literally save it for wizards and squishier characters.
True. Nick Reese has given us the first pun. What happens when the god of thunder drops his hammer? He gets Thor foot.
He gets the Thor foot. We'll take it. We'll keep it. I love it.
My heart hurts reading that. It's like 1d4 psych damage every time.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so you've decided that you want to be a barbarian. You want to be a tank. Maybe you've chosen this because a lot of people in your party have said that they want to be casters. So you need a melee fighter, or maybe you just want to act out your anger issues and maybe have that be a little therapeutic for you. Whatever your reason is, you're going to have rage. You're going to have unarmored defense, so you can wear whatever you want, as little or as much as you want, as long as it's not considered armor. And then you will get to level 2.
Okay.
Level 2 gives you 2 things. First off, we get reckless attack, which you mentioned confused you a little bit when you started out. So, and a lot of them are kind of similar in theme when it comes to the name, so I can see why it can get confusing. Reckless attack is exactly what it sounds like. You become reckless. You decide to forego caring about what happens to you, and you're just going to go right in and get in the face of the enemy. You attack recklessly. So you get advantage on all of your attacks, which is amazing because we all know what happens when you get a nat 20, which will happen more often when you have advantage. You do extra damage. You can do double damage with a crit. The downside to reckless attack is that all enemies have advantage on you. Now, if your unarmored defense is pretty good, maybe you don't care. Your unarmored defense, plus you can have a shield. Even as a barbarian, you can have a shield. So starting out, you could have a really good AC of about 17. So maybe those kobolds you're fighting can't hit you, even if they do have advantage. But it might happen. You got to be careful with that. But even if they do hit you, you're raging. You take half damage to most normal attacks. Bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing.
Well, and two, in D&D 5e rules, the damage is rounded down. So like if you get 7 points of damage, it's only 3. So you get a benefit. Now, the opposite of that is when you hit somebody with a 7, and they have half damage, they only take the 3 also. But that still is kind of beneficial that they round down, I think.
She's a barbarian. The puns aren't going to be good ones. Yeah. Good, fair. That's fair.
Or barbarian.
The only pun I will accept is hammer time, and even that one hurts a little. So you can attack recklessly, get advantage, which is awesome, but you do get more attacks. It is more often likely that they will attack you and hit you as well. The second thing that you get at level 2 is danger sense, and this one I have seen misused a lot. So I want to try and explain it as it's written in the player's handbook.
Okay.
Your DM may change and may rule something different, but I'm just trying to explain this rules as written. It says at second level, you gain an uncanny sense of when things nearby aren't what they should be, giving you an edge to dodge away from danger. And mechanically, you get advantage on dex saving throws if you can see where it's coming from. If it's a trap or a spell and you can see it, like you're not blind or you're not deafened, and it doesn't surprise you, you get advantage on the dex save to dodge away from the fireball or to get out of the trap.
Okay.
But because of the way it's worded and the fact that it's called danger sense, a lot of people treat it like, Spider-Man's, spider sense. Oh, I sense something is wrong. And people will say, do I sense anything wrong in this room with my danger sense? That's not what it is. It's just advantage on a dex save. Now, your DM might rule it differently because of the way it's worded. I can see the confusion. But having advantage on dex saves is pretty good if you want to, get out of the way of the trap, especially if you weren't wise enough to see it in the first place.
Well, and you mentioned fireball, because that was going to be my question. Is it magic? But in fireball, they're getting the ball out and getting ready to throw it. Or in a magical spell, they're doing something that would clue even a dumb barbarian that something's getting ready to happen. Yeah, and they're prepared to dodge. So it's more like being able, the danger sense is not sensing it before you can see it. It's sensing the possibility of it as it's starting to happen.
Right.
Okay.
It's kind of like if you're walking through a dungeon and you step on a tile and the tile sinks under your weight and you know something's about to happen, you can dodge out of the way.
Okay.
It only affects dexterity saving throws. So I've seen it used incorrectly multiple times by multiple different people. Unfortunately, the wording is a little confusing. But yeah, as long as you can see what's coming and you're not blinded in, darkness and you have, no dark vision, or you're deafened, or, just flat unconscious, which you can't do anything if you're unconscious anyway, you would get advantage on dex saves.
Okay.
Oh, you shush, pupper. Now, that takes us to our favorite level, level 3, where we get to pick what path we want to take in life.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like you graduated from high school and now you got to pick what job you want to go on. And which one do you want? You're being talkative. You want to tell us which one you want?
Mm-hmm.
Now he's confused. All right. In the player's handbook, there's 2 in particular. Sir. Yes, I know. I'm not paying attention to you. But there's multiple different kinds that you can take amongst Xanathars, and I think Tasha's even came up recently with new ones. But I'm just going to focus on the 2 in the player's handbook because that's the 2 most people know.
Yeah.
It sounds like the one that you took was, I'm trying to find it, Path of the Berserker, because you had Frenzy.
Yeah. It was definitely Path of the Berserker.
Just wanted my dog right here, so he's quiet. So, Path of Berserker just basically adds more barbarian to your barbarian, and that's the only way I can really phrase it. You get Frenzy, which allows you to add an extra attack to your normal attack anyway. At level 6, you get into this rage, and you're so deep and focused in this rage, it becomes a mindless rage, and you can't be charmed magically or frightened of anything. So there's a lot of benefits to this. Basically, it just is someone Thank you, buddy. Someone failed out of anger management school is how I like to phrase it.
But being frightened is a nightmare. That is powerful that you get the unable to be frightened, because you get into a battle where the other people get surprised and somebody lobs something at you that's going to frighten you. You can mess up the entire party depending on what the rolls of the dice are. It's something over which you have no control. So that's powerful.
Creatures have this aura that automatically at the start of their turn, you have to make a save against it to see if you will be frightened. And if you are frightened, you have disadvantage on your attacks and I think checks. I might be wrong on that. And what was the other thing?
Isn't it that you have to start
get closer to the creature?
Yeah. Which messes you up completely. Like if you take out a barbarian's ability to do melee attacks, you really mess with your barbarian, because they're the run-in bash a lot of times. So, and rogues. Yes, exactly. Rogues need to be able to get up close because they get the sneak attack thing. So if you scare a rogue, you almost make them unable to do you do make them unable to do the best thing about them, which is that sneak attack thing.
Oh, we got another pun. What do you call a song about hammers? An absolute banger. Nope. Nope. Those are horrible puns, McGrease. Good job.
I'm sure I would love them at table in the middle of a battle. I would probably stop and laugh heartily.
I would probably stop and groan.
Well, I said R. Okay. Yeah, Path, and I have actually played 2 barbarians at least. Oh. And both were Path of the Barbarian. I really don't know much about the other one at all. The Path of the Totem Warrior. I'm not familiar with it.
So the way the Path of the Totem Warrior is described is it's a spiritual journey as the barbarian accepts a spirit animal as a guide, protector, and inspiration. And your animal choices are bear, eagle, and wolf. In the player's handbook, I know that they've added more to that. If you go to the D&D wiki, which I'm going to right now. Let's see. Totem Warrior. There we go. I believe there was also, bear, eagle, elk, tiger, and wolf. But since we're just doing the player's handbook, because that's what most people pick up when they're starting, we'll stick with bear, eagle, and wolf now. Essentially, you gain some benefits when you hit 3rd and 6th level with this particular creature, and 14th, but we won't get into that. One of the most common ones I see people take is Totem of the Bear, because at level 3, it says, while raging, you have resistance to all damage except psychic damage. So if you're fighting a mind flayer and they're getting in your head, sorry, you're taking that damage. But you get hit by that fireball, you half damage it. You take half damage. Got hit with lightning, half damage. While you're raging, at least. Which is insanely powerful. To go up against all damage and only take half. Yeah, I can see why people like that one.
It's really got a lot of flavor for role-playing, too, because I can imagine, the Jungle Book comes to my mind. Mowgli, right, being raised by, what was it, panthers, maybe? Whoever it was that raised Mowgli, that he was raised by animals to then to combine the rage at seeing animals mistreated or hunted, and then the abilities of that animal, that just fits into a great backstory for a barbarian.
True. Let's see. Eagle gives you a dash action as a bonus action. Dash is when you can double your movement. Normally, you'd have to take your whole action to do that, but you want to get across the battlefield and go hit that one particular enemy, bonus action, pew, you're over there. And wolf is interesting. It gives the benefits to your allies, but it's kind of like pack tactics, if anyone's familiar with that. When you're raging, your friends have advantage on melee attack rolls against any creature within 5 feet of you. So barbarian rushes over, attacks somebody. If somebody comes up and tries to attack that creature as well, they get advantage. You can imagine how beneficial that would be for someone like a rogue who, if they have advantage, they get their sneak attack. So it depends on how you want to play it. If you want to be the bear, run in, take all the damage and, come out with hardly a scratch on you, or do you want to be the one that's more tactical and teams up with somebody? If you got a friend and you want to have two characters that are buddy-buddy and helping each other, a rogue and a Totem of the Wolf Barbarian is amazing combination. Lakota history could be useful for people learning about totems in human history. Awesome. Thank you for telling us that. Lakota, am I saying that correctly? I wonder. Okay. So let's see. What did you do? And then you get other benefits as you level up with your totem and with the berserker. So depends on what you want. If you want to be the mindless rage monster or maybe one who thinks a little more tactically. It kind of depends. But for role play, the Totem of the Beast is fun because if I want to be Totem of the Bear, do I have a bear pelt that I wear as a cloak? And, I've got the head of the bear over my face and whatnot. Was I raised by wolves and that's why I'm Totem of the Wolf?
It could be so fun. Yeah.
I believe somewhere where you can roll for, backstory in the player's handbook. There's a place to help you with that. One of the options that you could roll is I was literally raised by wolves. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Any questions so far from you or chat?
No, not from me. It's making me want to play a barbarian again because I am a more hesitant player. I think it comes from just never feeling like I have a total grip on the mechanics. I've told you that I struggle with that. So getting to play the barbarian, and like I said, actually I played barbarian twice, and I sort of forced myself to be the run in there and get up right next to the bad guy and plug away at him, and it stretched me, and I enjoyed that. I really did. I enjoyed Tiny very much, and it was fun because Tiny also was not very talkative and very easy to get angry, and when he got angry, he talked a little more. It wasn't always nice.
Wow. Yeah, and when you have a mechanic with your character that helps with your role play, it makes you feel a little more comfortable at the table, I think. So if you have something that, okay, because I did this, I need to act angry. Well, now you know how to act, and that can help your role play, especially if you're new at a table and you're a little on the shy side at first. I'm very introverted and I have social anxiety. So how I'm doing this is a miracle. But, if you need that, then Barbarian is actually pretty easy to get into it. I agree with you.
Well, and
right.
I was thinking about how the Incredible Hulk, that TV series, cartoon, whatever, the mild-mannered scientist who turns into the overpowered green monster, and of course Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but without the totally evil part. Yeah, those are certainly characterizations you can draw on while you're building.
And that gets us into, the role play aspect that we're going to have for you, especially the backstory. Is it a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde where it's a mild-mannered person and then when they get angry, they turn into someone different? My husband actually is working on a character now that literally when they rage, they turn into a different person. He was working with, he was thinking about someone who had something akin to like maybe, I don't want to say like bipolar disorder, because I don't want to, take away from someone who actually suffers from that, but kind of like a dual personality. But then he went more Marvel movies and decided, what if it was like Venom? And this thing like took over and I became this whole other like creature when I raged. I was like, okay, we'll have to write something for that, but absolutely that could be fun.
Yeah.
So there's so many different ways that you could role play your rage, but typically, at least it starts with anger.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, and another interesting thing about anger, about people and situations where people get angry, a lot of times particularly, I'm going to say societal anger, if you dig deeply into it, you run into a fear. You do.
Ooh.
And so,
Ooh, oh.
yeah, so I was thinking about that with like, yeah, they get angry because, and then you get into the reason why. And again, particularly like when people object to other whole races or whatever of people, you start digging down, or sexes or whatever, you get into fear of losing something, fear of, whatever. And so I think that could be cool, because that could come into play in the adventure. What makes you angry and why? And is it a fear? And if so, what are you afraid of? And are you going to run into it? So,
oof. Bonus Mom, bring the psychology into this.
I think maybe I am. Because it's too easy. Good. It's too easy to just play, what's his name? And of course, I'm thinking Critical Role and that character we all love so much. So when I say it's too easy to play, I don't mean that he made it easy. You know what I'm trying to say? Help me with, yeah. But he did it so brilliantly, it would be too easy for all of us to just try and do what he did, okay? So, yeah, I want to do something different. I want to think maybe my Barbarian, and yeah, I'm totally Grog. Thank you, McReese. Bonus Mom can't get the names right. All I could think of was Thor, thanks to the Thor joke, right? So, yeah, I think I'm interested in a Barbarian. And I think I like the idea of, if we dig down deep enough, my Barbarian is afraid of something.
I remember thinking about that because a lot of people will play, okay, I got hurt, now I'm angry. That's pretty common. Some people will play, my friends got hurt, now I'm angry. So it's a fear of losing someone. Maybe they've lost someone in their past and they don't want to lose anyone ever again. Mm-hmm. That's something that could happen. I think Grog in Critical Role was very much kind of a mixture of both of those. I do remember one time, though, very early in the campaign, a giant, I think it was a giant, but I couldn't quite remember, a giant creature took Grog's barrel of ale and drank all of it, and Grog slowly was trying to not go into a rage, and everyone at the table was trying to stop him from doing something. So it depends on what makes you angry. It might be just something funny for the role play, but you're right, it might be something deeper than that. Let's see. At 4th level for Barbarians, and for every class that I can think of, you get ability score improvement or a feat. And ability score improvements, of course, we want to get strength and constitution and dex up as high as we can. So maybe we'll add a +2 to one of those to get our numbers higher. Or maybe we want to take a feat. Maybe we want one that is often taken is the tough feat, which lets you take more HP every time you level up. So now your Barbarian, takes half damage from a lot of attacks, if not all attacks except psychic, and they already have a lot of HP. They already have a high, armor class. Now they have more HP. So the DMs are looking at them going, how am I going to ever make this character feel like they're actually in a situation where they might go down? This is going to take a while. But McReese, you're absolutely right. I think you don't take Grog's ale and you don't hurt his friend Pike.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Yeah, and I think the human side of all of us is that thing about don't hurt my friends. You can almost be hurt yourself more than you can stand to see your friends get hurt. That's
absolutely.
That's just kind of a human thing. Well, a thing about, let's just take a minute here because we do get some new players in here. And let's talk just a little bit about that whole, you get 2 ability score improvement numbers to mess with, or a feat. And the feats can look just like wonderful. You took a feat called Charger. Okay. And what does Charger do?
Let's look.
Barbarian and a cleric make for a good blockade. Yeah, agree. While she's looking up chart.
When you use your action, Charger, when you use your action to dash, you can use a bonus action to make one melee weapon attack or to shove a creature. If you move at least 10 feet in a straight line immediately before taking this bonus action, you can either gain a +5 bonus to the attack's damage.
Wow.
Or push the target up to 10 feet away. So it affects your movement. You're able to go up and shove somebody and push them 10 feet. If they're on the edge of a cliff, that might be useful.
Oh, yeah. On the side, yeah.
+5 damage to strike somebody. Ouch. That could be helpful.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
There's lots of feats that many people take, and it doesn't even matter what class you do. I know a lot of people like to take Tavern Brawler because, well, first of all, it has a really fun name. Accustomed to rough and tumble fighting, using whatever weapons happen to be at hand, you gain the following benefits. Your strength or charisma or constitution score goes up by 1. So that's helpful. You're proficient with improvised weapons. You actually start a bar fight, well, there's a stool. Use
that. Amen. Yep.
And now, unarmed strikes, where you go in and punch somebody like you're in a fist fight. Normally, that would just be 1 HP for every punch that hits. Now it's a D4 instead. And let's see. Once you go in and try to strike somebody, you can use your bonus action to also grapple them and hold them in place so they can't go anywhere. So I can see that one being very fun for roleplay aspect. Let's see. And probably the feat that I take the most, because I'm not very lucky when it comes to my rolls, is the lucky feat, which lets you re-roll. Let's see. Is it just nat ones? I can't remember now. You have 3 luck points. When you roll a d20, you can spend 1 luck point to roll an additional d20. So you give yourself advantage, basically.
Yeah.
You can choose to do this after you roll. So if I really want to succeed and get that killing blow on Strahd and Curse of Strahd, and I roll a nat 1, well, I could use my lucky feat and re-roll. Doesn't guarantee I'm going to hit, but at least it's not a nat 1 after that.
I get a better chance. Yeah. So I think I was going to, and this is so good. I'm glad you're talking about feats because it's something I know very little about. But a thing that tripped me up on the either or thing, that it's worth reviewing about, you get the 2 ability point increases or you get a feat. But that thing about the 2 score increases, Pixel pointed that out to me, that if you have something that you would get a whole additional point for, if you added 2 points to it, you should put the 2 points in one place. If you've decided you're going to do the ability score increase and not the feat, that if you're sitting on like a 15, and you add 1, then you go to a 16, then you get the score increase. But if you put both of your points in the 15, you would be wasting one of them, right? Because you would be at 17, you would only get the 1. So with 2 ability score improvement points, you want to add them in a place, and you can do it to 2 different things where it will increase your bonuses. I hope that made sense. If you have a clearer way of saying it than I do, have at it. But it's worth saying because it took me a long time to get that. I was just trying to make my numbers get bigger. Oh, I need to be strength, so I have a 15, so I'll put the 2 points there, and then I'll have a 17. It's like you're really wasting a point if you do that because you're not going to get a higher proficiency number. So go ahead, give yourself one of them there and look somewhere else and see if you have an 11 or a 13 that you can add another point to and get an increase.
Yep. Real quick, McReese. Gnome missile. I just Googled that and it's a Reddit story. Is that what you're talking about? Because I'm not familiar with it. I'll have to read it later.
Yeah, I had never heard of it. If it's a
Reddit story, I'll look into it. But you're right, Bonus Mom. So when we do ability scores, it can go from 1 to 20 and sometimes higher than 20, but that's very rare. And 10 is average. If you are an average person, John Smith, who runs a farm, 10 strength, 10 dex, 10 con, all the way down to charisma, 10, 10, 10. So the modifier is a 0. The modifier is what's used to decide if your attack hits or how much damage you use, or if you roll animal handling. Those are the modifiers are the important numbers. But your modifier will go up by 1 for every 2 in your ability score. So 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So yeah, if you're sitting at a 15 and you hit level 4, you get an ability score improvement of 2 points. You can put 1 into that 15 and then 1 into something else. Maybe it'll be helpful, maybe it won't. If you're sitting at a 18 and you want to get to that 20, you have to put in both.
Yeah.
Just get up there. But you get 2 points to put wherever you want. And that could be in 2 odd numbers so that you can bump up both up, or in 1 even number to get it a little higher. And that is really beneficial, especially for when I have a spellcaster. I definitely want my spellcaster ability to be a 20 as fast as possible. That affects if my spells hit, that affects the save DC on it. It affects so much that goes into that character. For a barbarian, you want strength, dex, and constitution to be as high as possible. Mm-hmm. So it is definitely something to think about. There's a trade-off. Do you want a feat, or do you want to be stronger in battle?
A plus for the feat, for the argument of the feat, is that we don't get magic, okay? But a feat can almost feel like that a little bit sometimes, because it's like a special cool thing you get to do when the wizard is over there doing his cool thing or her cool thing. So some of it, and then also, it can tie into your backstory. Which would your character have gone for in their lives? Are they bodybuilding, or are they learning how to maneuver more? So you can actually tie that into your backstory too and give yourself some motivation.
And I just opened up the feats once again and found one that I did not really pay attention to until campaign 2 of Critical Role, when the character Caleb had it. I think he had it at level 1 because he was a variant human and he took a feat at level 1. But he took Keen Mind, mm-hmm. which is incredibly useful because not only does your intelligence score go up, you always know which way is north, so it's hard to get turned around. You always know how many hours are left before sunrise or sunset, even if you're not outside. You always know. How cool is that? Mm-hmm. But the most annoying aspect as a dungeon master is you can accurately recall anything you have seen or heard within the past month. So the character remembers everything, even if the player doesn't. So the player could look at the DM and go, hey, Caleb knows this. I forgot. What was this character's name? Or, what did they say in that letter? And the DM just goes, ugh.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that so well. Yes. I remember that so well. It's just like that just turns the DM into your encyclopedia kind of. And it was very valuable. Yeah.
What color was the wallpaper in that noble's bedroom that we infiltrated? Just, no, jeez. It's like they know everything. Mm-hmm. And it only lasts for 30 days, but they just know everything that's happened, which is very useful if you don't take good notes like me. I'm not a good note taker. I try. But I see the gnome missile was referring to the gnome barbarian with the charger feet. Just across, just a little gnome going across all the field.
Gotcha. It makes a gnome. Oh, yeah. A gnome missile. I see it now. What I thought, because I don't know what a gnome missile is. Are they throwing it? So I see. You're too clever for us, McReese.
And then at 5th level, which is where we'll stop with the mechanics for today, you get 2 things. A lot of people only get 1 at 5th level. You get extra attack. So on your action, you get to bonk twice. And then you get fast movement, which is while you're not wearing heavy armor, you get to increase your speed by 10 feet. So that little gnome, who I believe has only 25 movement speed, if memory serves. I know halfling is 25. Now they can go 35, which is faster than most characters, humans, elves, and otherwise. And with the charger feat that they took, they can bonus that or action dash across the field.
Yeah. Powerful. Movement is so crucial. It's something I don't even look at when I took my halfling fighter. I wasn't even thinking about movement. And boy, it came back to haunt me later. I couldn't get where I needed to go as quickly as everybody else could.
It's like that TikTok sound. Wait for me. I have little legs.
Yeah.
It's what it is. And I have had many halfling and gnome characters in the past. I hate being reminded about being short because Nerdy Teacher is only 5'1", and I don't like always being short. I want to have the long legs and reach where I want to go.
Well, and I wouldn't want to be depressing on a Sunday afternoon, but I used to be 5'1", and I'm 4'11" now at 71, so it doesn't get any better. There are no late life growth spurts, I'm sorry to say.
I'm going to start wearing heels more often.
There you go. Oh, my gosh.
But
Okay.
yes, I understand. We're going to be a pair when we meet up, just a couple of shorties. We're going to lose each other if we go to Walmart and go down the wrong aisle. Just not be able to find each other.
Our pastor took some kids up to Gatlinburg for some kind of a youth retreat or something this weekend, and he came home saying that everybody there but our kids had like PVC pipes with a banner on top, and whoever would hold up the banner, and all the kids knew where to come. And we need that. We need PVC pipes with Nerdy Teacher over here on them, and then we can find each other. Hey, CJC Gaming, good afternoon. We are talking Dungeons and Dragons this afternoon, and we're talking about characters, how to build a barbarian. And I don't know if you have given any thought to ever wanting to play Dungeons and Dragons or not. It's pretty big in our community. CJC Gaming plays a lot of Fortnite, and he plays on Twitch. And sometimes I go in and watch him because he's a neighbor of mine, Nerdy Teacher.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's as far as the mechanics go, how to do the basics of a barbarian. That'll get you to level 5. You'll have 2 attacks at level 5. You'll have your path decided, whether you want to be a berserker or take more of an animal spirit along with you. And of course, the most common thing.
Uh-oh.
Let's see.
You just froze. You said the most common, and then you froze for a second.
Oh, yeah, I sure did. I'm seeing that on Twitch. I don't know what happened. What the most common thing about a barbarian is the rage.
The rage. And then, like you said, there's like reckless and frenzied, and sometimes that's a little bit hard for me to keep up with. I'm glad it just kind of starts out with one, and you can get it under your belt before you go on to the other 2. Okay, are we ready to build our barbarian today?
I do believe so. I've got a notepad right here to take notes. So starting off, do we want to worry about numbers, or do we want to go straight into who is this character, race, class is obviously barbarian, but or I should remind myself that in the new one D&D, I believe they're doing away with the word race and doing species instead. So race, species, whatever you want to say. But do you want to start with the numbers first and figure it out from there? Or do you like to go straight into the backstory and do numbers last?
I can't remember what we've done in the past. I really can't. I remember that I actually got dice and rolled them up. I remember that. Mm-hmm. And my dice are right here. So maybe we should just see if we've got something to... Oh, but I don't have 2 D6s there. I'm going to take just a second, and I'm going to go get 3 more D6s.
Well, you do that, and I'll remind everybody how to roll up for dice. So there's a few ways to roll up your ability scores, and ask your DM, of course, when you get started, what one they prefer. There's standard array, which is you get a certain number of, points to put into your ability scores, however you want.
Well, while we are rolling up these numbers, our chat can be thinking about whether or not, I don't even know how to do a poll, so.
But chat, the way she's going to handle it right now, I believe, is the most common one that I've seen is roll 4d6 and then drop the lowest number. Some DMs are very, very nice. And if you roll a 1, you can re-roll on that dice one time. If it comes back as a 1, you're stuck with a 1. But let's say I roll a 4, 3, 2, and 1. Then I take the 4, 3, and the 2, and I have 9, which is below average and not that great. If I re-roll that 1 and it comes up as 6, now it's 6, 4, and 3, which is a 13, which is even better. But when I roll for my characters, I let my players re-roll 1s if they want, but I tell them that when I roll, I keep the 1s because I think low numbers are fun. To have a weakness is fun when it comes to role play. So, bonus mom, it is up to you how you want to do it today.
Okay, we'll just roll it. We'll keep what we get. Drop 1 lowest so we can lose 1 1. As if we roll 2 1s, we're going to be in trouble. But we are now a rule that Pixel has that he wants you to roll at least 2 15s or he lets you re-roll. Now, how do you feel about that?
Oh, I don't mind that. One thing that I've told players is if you want a low number, like I had a fighter, Rain, who I wanted her charisma to be a negative because she is not a good talker. And I rolled and the lowest I had was a 10. So I asked my DM, hey, could I take 2 points away from that 10 and put them in something else? So I will have a negative, but I will have maybe more strength. And he was fine with that. So I've gone with that. If anyone ever really wants to like take away from one and put it in another, as long as it doesn't go over 18. It can't be over an 18 to start unless your species or a feat or something comes in and makes it a higher number. So 18 is the highest you can get to start. Okay.
So here comes my first number. And while we're rolling these numbers, something the chat can be thinking about, because I would rather the chat made this decision than me, is what species I'm going to be. Okay, so votes in chat as to what it is you want my character to be, and then be thinking about whether I'm going to be the totem or the berserker. Be thinking about that. Okay, I have a 1 in this one, so it's a 5, 5, and a 4 makes 14.
It sure does. All right, got it.
Okay. Oh, this one's great. 2 6s, a 5, and a 4. So that is a 17.
Very good.
See, now when I get something like that, then it's like I want to keep it all, no matter what. It's like, oh God, I'll take whatever this is because I want that 17. I've made that choice before. Okay, 2 1s, so I'm going to keep one of them, and it's a 5, a 4, and a 1, so there's a 10.
Okay.
Pixie. Tabaxi looks like a big cat. A vote for Tabaxi and a vote for Pixie? Hysterical. Okay, there's a 1 this time, but I take it out. Oh, this is another great roll. Okay, this is going to be it because I have a 4, 5, and a 6. So that's a 15.
15. Yep.
So this is a definite keeper no matter what else I roll.
Watch her roll a 3 next.
Oh God, no, I'm off. I have great rolls when we do this. Okay, I'm taking that 1 out, and I have another 4, 5, and a 6. That's another 4, 15. Do you let somebody have that many good rolls?
I will let them have it. I'll look at it and hate it, but I'll let them have it.
Well, I could put the camera on this. I probably should put the camera on this because I'm tricky, but I'm being very honest. Okay, how many is this now?
We need 1 more.
Okay, so I've got 2 1s again. Oh, this one's great. This is a 7.
Oh, okay. That'll be fun. All right. So we do have 1 negative. That's awesome. 1 flat, 10, 1 negative. And yeah, that's it. So you got your 6.
Okay. Fantastic.
Okay.
And I think that's going to be pretty, that negative and that supercharged 17 is totally cool.
I'm trying to think. When you did fighter, you chose tiefling. Then we did a rogue, and I remember your rogue is afraid of water, but works as a sailor because he's trying to impress the captain. And I think the captain was also a tiefling that we came up with. I don't remember their species.
Okay, McGrease is saying half orc, that it was a half orc.
That's it. That's what
the
it was.
The rogue was a half orc.
Thank you, McGrease.
McGrease, did you keep notes on this? Because I'm not sure that Pixel downloaded the things that I recorded on this. I'm not sure I have it. So the rogue was a half orc. Well, there's a part of me that kind of wants to nix the tabaxi, although I really desperately appreciate you choosing it, McGrease, only because I'm already playing one, but I'm willing. But now so what we have so far is somebody wants tabaxi, somebody wants pixie. I need a tiebreaker. Which is it?
Well, I just put in pixie to see what chat would say.
Oh, okay.
Like that. I have seen a pixie barbarian, and it was hilarious because I had a tiefling monk who had a chip on their shoulder and, just had to always prove themselves and be the tough one, and no one could beat them, cocky. And they got into a verbal altercation with the pixie barbarian and basically ended up with.
Oh, you froze again. Doggone it.
Oh, no.
It's okay. It was only for a second, but we lost what they ended up as.
Well, it was I'd like to see you try kind of talk. And we rolled to see who would win in a grapple, and the pixie won.
The
pixie beat me and lifted me up and dumped me in the middle of a fountain, just in a city square. So it was hilarious. But
okay,
we
so now
gnomes and halflings being small.
Okay, Ace is saying instead of a tabaxi, how do we feel about a leonine, which I'm guessing is like a lion person?
I do not know if that's correct. I know it's Leonine.
Leonine.
So I've been saying Leonine. They are lion people, basically.
Okay.
So I think that they're basically tabaxi, but stronger. I haven't played one yet, honestly. So we could go.
Okay, really so we've got tabaxi, pixie, and dragonborn, and leonine. We've got 4. Should we roll a d4?
Absolutely. Dragonborn would be fun too. You got a d4 on you?
I do. If I dig it out of here. Okay, this is what I want you to do. I want you nerdy teacher, to write down the numbers 1 through 4, and then assign each one of those characters to a number, but don't tell me.
Okay. Well, I was going to go right down the list, but what I'm going to do is just...
No, be trickier than that.
Yep, I'm going to be trickier.
Yeah, let's keep it honest here. Okay. Since I did so well with rolling the one thing.
I've moved them around. We're good.
Okay, so I'm rolling a d4, and I am getting a 2.
A 2 is a dragonborn.
Oh, okay. I have never played a dragonborn. I know nothing about dragonborns other than maybe something I have seen somebody else, play and do.
Well, you're in luck, because my first campaign was my husband's idea of an all dragonborn campaign. So I'm pretty familiar with them. That was a experience.
Okay, so I am a dragonborn. Okay, what color am I?
Oh, we've got our choices. Let's see. Pulling it up.
Okay.
Okay. So we've got black, blue, brass, bronze, copper, gold, green, red, silver, and white. So how many is that? That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We could roll a d10.
Okay. I'm gonna do it.
Chat pick 4 and you roll again.
And those we'll just go with what's in line, and I'll roll a d10 and tell you which it is. How about that?
Absolutely. Here's the list.
I got a 5. Middle of the list. I got a 5.
1, 2, 3, 4. Copper. Ooh. Okay, copper.
Okay.
So you are a copperish dragonborn. Very nice. So just for legends and lores, if anyone's unfamiliar, dragons in Dungeons and Dragons are certain colors, which means that they also do certain breath weapons, but it also affects their alignment and their affiliation, let's say. Tiamat is an evil dragon deity, and she is comprised of red, blue, black, white, and green dragons. And dragons that are on the material plane that are green, red, white, blue, and black tend to be more evil aligned. Not necessarily. We can always play up a good green dragon, but they tend to be evil. If anyone has watched the most recent episodes of Vox Machina animated, or you've seen Critical Role Season 1, Campaign 1, I should say, you are very familiar with this. But the metallic dragons are aligned with Bahamut, who is a good aligned dragon deity. So you are copper, so you are technically metallic. Some people play up dragonborns as being, aligned one way or another based on their color, or that people might mistrust them because they're black or green or red or blue. I did not do that with my campaign because they all just chose colors that they liked: blue, green, red, whatever. But it might affect your decision on how you want to play this character if you are, a certain color. Just throwing that out there for anyone who might want to know.
Oh, I am glad to know that because I really didn't have a good grip on any of it.
Let's see. And I'm just looking at the player's handbook where it talks about dragonborns, and there is a lot of just lore listed with the dragonborns as well, since they are basically children of dragons, is how it's described. It does say that a lot of dragonborns are born in clans that are self-sufficient and self-contained, that they tend to be, one of my players, for example, lived with a nomadic tribe of dragonborns, and they just traveled wherever the seasons needed them to go. They tend to stay with themselves and not venture out into the cities too often. So for some DMs, they might play it up as you walk into the tavern and everyone stops because they've not seen a dragonborn before. Maybe they're more common in your DM's group, but, play it however you want. But, you know what we didn't do, Bonus Mom? We got your numbers. We didn't decide what they meant.
Where'd they go, huh?
Yeah, we forgot that. Right. Yeah, Reese, McReese, Rashawn. No spoilers. Well, if you let's do that right now so we can decide, because in choosing your species, the first thing it gives you is that's gnome. That's not dragonborn. The first thing they give you is an ability score improvement for dragonborn. So we got to decide where that's going to go. In descending order, you got 17, 15, 15, 14, 10, and 7. 17, 15, 15, 14, 10, and 7.
Well, obviously.
Now we know. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, if we're going to, it's obviously strength is the 17. I mean, anything else would be foolish. And with a dragonborn, that makes sense too. If it was a halfling or a pixie, maybe not. I don't know. But for a dragonborn to put the most powerful one in strength, and then the dex and constitution are the 15s.
Yeah, you didn't really have to do a whole lot of thinking there, did you?
Not for the top 3. Now it gets interesting because with what's left, that wisdom, intelligence, and charisma, and it's a barbarian.
Yeah, and we have a dragonborn, and if we stick with the common lore of they don't venture out into the city often, perhaps they didn't really get an education past the information they got from their clan. Perhaps they don't know how to speak to other people who aren't speaking Draconic, so their charisma is really low. Perhaps they're not the wisest because they don't have the life experience that other people do. So that is very interesting to add this here. You've got a 14, so that's going to be good in something. You've got a 10, which is average, and then you've got a lovely 7 to put somewhere. So what are we thinking for your Dragonborn?
Well, I'm thinking a copper Dragonborn can be really pretty because it's metallic. Mm-hmm. So this thing that jumps into my mind is the opposite of what you said. What if this Dragonborn happens to be pretty dang charismatic? And that's hysterical, in my opinion, for a barbarian. Won't that make the flip into anger even more terrifying? Whoever he's up against, he, she, whatever, if they're also very charismatic. But they're dumb as a box of rocks, both in decision making and what they know about the world because of the clan. You know? Okay. So people could be like attracted to them and they could get away with something absolutely stupid because they're so charismatic. So I don't know. What does the chat think? Let's have help on that, chat. Do you want this Dragonborn to be dumbly charismatic or meanly wise, unpleasantly wise? What do we think? I'd love to know. And McReese, what does Rayshawn mean? Are you coming up with a name, or does that mean something I should know what it is?
Rayshawn is from Critical Role. And,
okay.
It's a character name that will come up in this season of the animated series on Prime Video if anybody wants to watch it.
See, I have.
So that's why I was like, no spoilers.
I have fallen so to the side on Critical Role with what I got going in my life. I never get to watch it. I keep saying I'm going to get back, and I haven't because I absolutely love it. I even subscribe to it so I can see it on Thursday nights, and I don't. High charisma, dumb as rocks. McReese likes it.
McReese is saying that we need a himbo or a bimbo, one of the two.
Okay, so it's charismatic, but okay, if this guy just, I think Pixel always has to remind me. One is what you know between wisdom and intelligence. One is what you know and one is your decision making. I kind of feel like it would be totally cool to have very weak decision making.
So intelligence is book smarts and wisdom is street smarts.
Okay, average book smart makes very bad decisions.
That is
It's like the bad boy that everybody can't help but like, right? Kind of that, yeah. He's so dumb, but you just sort of like him anyway. So
history checks and let's see, what's intelligence? I can't remember off the top of my head.
I don't have the
intelligence or thing. History checks, nature checks. You know things.
The character sheets in the back of the book. I'm gonna look. What's intelligence?
Well,
yeah, religion, nature. He's not going to know much. He or she. Nature, investigation will suck. Arcana, history. Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
But if you are going low in wisdom, that affects animal handling, insight, telling if somebody can be trustworthy or not. So maybe this guy or girl trusts everybody, even though they shouldn't. Perception, you're not going to be the best at spotting traps or looking ahead and seeing. But
that all sounds
you, so
yeah. Ace of Spades.
Jenkins a little bit.
Ace is saying intelligence is knowing a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put a tomato in a fruit salad. I want the low wisdom then. I want my guy putting the tomato in the fruit salad every time, and then people eat it and act like they like it just because they don't want to make him unhappy.
And charisma is putting the tomato in the fruit salad and calling it salsa.
Yeah, there you go. Amen. Perfect. Yes, yes.
That's, yep, I love that description. It's been passed around quite a bit at my table. We love some chips and salsa at the table.
That's so totally cool.
So you're not dumb, but you don't make the best decisions.
Yeah.
And maybe that's how you've gotten into adventuring in the first place. Maybe you made some choices and I don't know, maybe you got kicked out. I don't want to say that. Maybe you just decided, I'm going to go see what's out there in the big world. And now you're going, this was not a good idea.
Yeah, and okay, this is good. I'm really, really liking this. And back to my psychological side of what I'm afraid of and what makes me angry tends to make me think that what makes me angry is actually myself and my own screw ups, now obviously the other situations I'm going to go into a rage too, but that like I could be somebody who starts to go into a rage when I screw up, and then we're back to the thing about everybody else at the table's got to try to calm me down so I don't go into a rage. So I think we got some self-loathing. What does chat think about that? Charismatic person can't see the good in themselves. Everybody else thinks they're kind of fun, but they got some self-loathing, which certainly ties into being a dragonborn. And by the way, what's the other half of me? Does it specify? It doesn't. Does it? Dragonborns are just children of dragons, but does it say the other parent is human?
Well, Dragonborns are their own species at this point, and Dragonborns have Dragonborns. Your parents were probably Dragonborns.
Okay.
Where Dragonborns came from is in the lore.
Lost in antiquity.
In mystery.
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
Is how it's specified. I did have a couple. My husband had a Dragonborn, and I had a human that got married and had children, and that was a weird thing that happened. But we said that the child was a Dragonborn, probably just not as big as Dad was, because it had a bit of human in it. But stats-wise, we just went with straight Dragonborn. Didn't bother with the half and half or anything like that.
So would my parents
likely? Go ahead.
Would my parents have been Copper Dragonborn?
That is likely. At least one of them. We had that conversation at my table last night. If you have a silver dragonborn and they get pregnant, is it going to be a silver dragonborn, or is there a chance that it could be another color? It's kind of interesting to think that it could be a random color, just maybe it has to be metallic. But I think it makes sense that at least one of your parents was copper.
Okay.
Let's see. All right. So with your numbers decided, we can move into what you get by choosing Dragonborn. The first thing you get is your strength score increases by 2.
Woo-hoo-hoo!
So that is awesome. And your charisma score goes up by 1. So your charisma is now 15. So you are getting very charismatic.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, this is so fun. So depending on what I want to do, ma'am, it would make it hard for me to choose a feat and easy to pick putting the 2, because my now 19 could jump to 20 and my now 15 could jump to 16 on the charisma.
And you have a 15 in Dex and Constitution, so your next ability score, you could put it into that too. You've got choices.
A lot of it will be hard to pick a feat versus the numbers. True. I think.
Now this is interesting, and I think I knew this before, but I kind of forgot. For your age, Dragonborns grow quickly. By the time they're 3 years old, they are walking, speaking, and acting like a 10-year-old human child would. So in 3 years, you're about the size of a 10-year-old child. And you reach your adulthood by 15. So you could be still pretty young. Maybe that's why your wisdom isn't that great. You haven't experienced the full world yet.
But I'm still cute. I'm not battle scarred and I haven't been around too much, and I'm wildly out of control, right? I mean, that makes the rage fitting because I'm still just barely out of being an adolescent. So, yeah, young, does that sound good, chat? I'm going with young. It just kind of fits as to the overall picture.
Absolutely. Size, Dragonborns are taller and heavier than humans, well over 6 feet. So Dragonborn people get to live out their fantasies of being tall. And your speed is 30 feet, as usual. But, let's see. Because you have a dragon in your ancestry, you do get a breath weapon. Now, your breath weapon, I want to think, I could be wrong, but I think in Fizbin's Treasury of Dragons, they had a different version of the breath weapon. But I'm going to go with what's in the player's handbook, as again, we're doing this for people who might just be starting out.
Well, if you get
According
around
to the player's handbook,
if we make it far enough that we are going to do this adventure, and somebody in our chat is going to actually play this person, I will not be playing all the roles. It won't be you and me, and I'll be playing 5 people. We're going to pick now, but I would think that there might be a little room for negotiation later. Let's say that. How does that sound?
Absolutely.
In case it was something somebody was just dying to do, we might fudge a little bit. Okay, so what's my breath weapon according to the handbook?
Well, you get a breath weapon of acid, which is just brutal.
What is it? I didn't
breath weapon, I think acid.
Acid. Okay.
Let's see. When you make your breath weapon, each creature in the area of your weapon will make a save to see if they can get out of the way in time and take half damage. But they will take, at start, 2d6 of acid damage when you breathe on them. And then that goes up to 3d6, 4d6, 5d6 at a higher level. And I think, let's see, I'm trying to find out how often you can use this. After you use your breath weapon, you can't use it again until you complete a short or a long rest. So mostly in every battle, you can use it once. But the acid spray is a straight line, not a cone like fire breath is, but it's a straight line that's 30 feet long.
Whoa.
So, yeah, if you find a way to get a bunch of enemies that are in a straight line, just right at them. 30
down
feet,
the hallway.
all of them are taking that damage. Yeah,
down the hallway.
It is amazing.
Wow.
So you definitely have a tough weapon there to use.
And I can do that in addition to the whole barbarian thing?
Sure, you could.
So see, that gives me a range weapon.
Mm-hmm.
That gives me a range weapon that's amazing.
And it's a racial feat. So according to the rules, you are allowed to use that even when you're raging. So it makes sense because it's just something that you innately have when you're born. So even when you're mindlessly raging, you still will spit up acid at somebody. And you could flavor that to be like whatever color you want, or how it burns the people and their skin's melting, or you can describe however you want that to be. And because you have that like inside of you, I will say, in some sort of dragonborn anatomy, you have that pouch that can create this acid, you are also resistant to acid at all times. So someone throws acid at you, half damage automatically.
Wow, why have I never played a dragonborn before?
They can be fun. How about chat? Has anyone in chat played a Dragonborn before? I'd love to know what colors you picked, see which one's the most popular. Let's see.
And Nick Reese, who remembers everything, do you remember what the name of our rogue was, what our rogue's name was?
The indie face melt.
Oh, yikes. Yep. Not yet. Mick Reese has not played one yet. Okay.
Not played a Dragonborn yet? Okay. And of course, you get 2 languages, Common and Draconic, which is the language of dragons. So you can speak to dragons and you can understand them. Let's see. Okay. And that is basically it. Now, they do have some suggestions for names, and they're all very, like, harsh consonants almost. For males, it starts with Arjhan, Balasar, Barash, Donar, Gesh, Kriv. That's a good one. For females, Akra, Birir, Dar, Faradeh, Kava, Korin. It's a lot of k and sounds in there.
Well, I tell you what. First thing that it makes me think before we name then is I want to roll a D100.
Sure.
And we'll find out if I'm a he or a she.
Okay. So 1 to 50 or just even odds or anything like that?
1 to 50, which? Female? 50 to 100 male.
Okay. 50 to 100.
Well, 1 to 50 female, 51 to 100 male.
Yep.
Okay, 43.
Okay.
40
so
plus 3.
Female. So you have a very charismatic female dragonborn.
I'm going to have to get a Ricola. I'm starting to get a Crag.
No worries.
We have Celine. Oh, thank you. I need to write that down.
I'm getting it too, just in case. I know I got my book around here somewhere, but safely. And Crag, the half orc, and I know I wrote down everything because I think we had Crag's dad's name and whatnot. I'll just have to go find that notebook. It's around my desk somewhere.
Yeah, we got.
You need to go get a drink real quick?
I've got I have water and I have a Ricola.
Oh, okay.
Okay, what's my name, people?
Let's see. We've got a female. It's going to have harsh syllables. And one thing that I always like to do is there's a fantasy name generator on, it's just fantasynamegenerators.com, and they have a Dragonborn section. Let's see.
Okay, well, I'm coming up empty on that one. Nothing. Sometimes a name will come to me, but this one, it isn't.
I can understand this one being a little harder. Let's see. For Dragonborns. Anyone in chat have any good ideas while I look this up?
Yeah, is anybody getting any feelings?
Oh, my goodness.
I'm going to take a moment and blow my nose.
You're fine.
Here.
I just pulled up the fantasy name generator, and the first name that popped up is for a 13 letters long.
Oh, yikes.
I'm going to put it in chat just because it's interesting.
Clinxaxmedos?
Yes, I'm going to go with that because I can't.
Clinxaxmedos.
You need a nickname.
Malian.
Let's see.
Well, I could go for that.
Let's see. I'm just putting some in chat, see if anything.
Lucas Star Perleris.
Just seeing if anything pops out and makes. And then there is there is something that might make this easier too, because when Dragonborns are children, they have a childhood name. They earn an adult name as they grow up. It's like a rite of passage. And their childhood names are a lot easier to say. I'm looking at favorable, spirited, courageous, stamper, favored. Let's see what the player's handbook has to say about that. So if you want to be younger, you could be maybe someone who's not quite an adult and has to go on an adventure as a rite of passage in order for the clan to view them as an adult. That's a thought.
Okay. Well, McReese is coming up with Emmer or Imrid. And Emmer...
Ooh, I like that too.
I do too.
Climber, earbender, leaper, shield biter. that I don't know why that one made me laugh. I was just shield biter. Sounds like what you'd call a little dragonborn ankle biter, just shield biter.
Okay, so this is a young dragonborn on the cusp of adventure and ready for adventure. So I'm going with Emmer ready. EMMER ready. As in ever ready, but it's a play. Emmer ready.
Emmer ready. So we could say like a 14 or 15-year-old dragonborn, but looks like an adult because they just...
And people are going to think that she is an adult, because she's attained her growth, but she's just not there yet. She's Emmer ready. So Emmer, I like that. I'm cool with that. I think Emmer is good. In an emergency, they call her M.
It's sure. A lot easier to say than Clinaximidals.
It is. I like it. Maybe shields are their teething rings. Oh, I like that. She chews on her shield.
It's a bad habit, and they still chew on their shield when they get nervous.
Maybe that's part of the reason why she's out there on her own.
Oh, so Emmer ready, according to Ace, Emmer ready does not always mean ever ready. It means am I ready? So
I like it.
Self-loathing coming back.
And the reality, because the reality is maybe she is not ready at all and still trying to cling to childhood, like the kid who doesn't want to learn to drive a car, who doesn't want the part-time job. And when pushed, gets very angry, like maybe part of her anger is she's supposed to be the barbarian and the whole thing and charge in there like the rest of the clan. And she doesn't really want to. She really doesn't want to embrace adulthood. Oh, I am really liking this.
I wonder if in her clan she has a position of authority that she's supposed to take over, like when she comes of age. My last player who developed a nomadic clan, he was supposed to be the lore keeper. He was supposed to be the one that kept the tomes, wrote everything down, and he knew more than anyone else in the clan. He knew all the secrets and whatnot too, and he had to go on an adventure to prove himself before he would earn that position. So maybe she has a scary position. Maybe it's tribe leader. If you want to go that far.
Well,
maybe
and what's her really dumb? She's dumb as a box of rocks, and she knows absolutely nothing about the tribe or whatever. So, yeah, she's being pushed to take a leadership role. We can think about that mysterious leadership role, and she's just not really ready for it and not feeling grown up. I love that Ace of Spades. I wrote it down. Am I ready? Am I ready? Am I ready? Yeah, am I ready? And the answer is maybe no. So she just blows. She just goes into a rage and...
Excuse me.
It's okay. I wish I could hand you a tissue, but no. Hand it through the thing. Yeah, I think this is cool. Now she's got she's got conflict going on now, doesn't she?
I love the flaw of chewing on the shield, maybe, because she has to have a wooden shield. Can't get a metal one, because if you bite a metal one, it hurts. But you can chew on the wooden one, And if anyone looks at her wooden shield, there's like teeth marks all the way around.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, we got to make a note about the wooden shield. And she tries not to, okay?
Oh, yeah, it's not a good look. You know, she's a pretty thing, you know, charismatic, but when she gets nervous, she's, you know, chewing on this thing like a kid might be like sucking on a thumb or something. And that doesn't look very good.
I think she tries to tell people they're notches for another reason.
That's how many kills I've gotten.
Yeah. I'm up to like 10 kills. Ooh, good. Yeah.
Or this is how many people that are on my list I need to take down. Yeah.
Okay.
But would it hurt a dragonborn? Don't gators eat car plates and stuff? Okay, you're true, Mick Reese. I'm just thinking comfortably. I mean, how strong are dragonborn's jaws? I mean, they're not alligators. They're not full dragons. Well, that's a good question. They probably could bite through metal and it'd be fine, but
But yeah, I kind of like the idea of the wooden shield, and it would work for the metal one too, because she could have, could have bet places in the metal. I'm doing okay, Bonus Dad. How about you? Have you been asleep? I thought he has the look of a person who just woke up. So while we're planning the demise of thousands of adversaries here by Amaretti, Bonus Dad nippy napping. I think there's lots there to build a fun character on. This is really going to be an interesting group here with our half-orc, our dragonborn, and our tiefling.
Absolutely.
If we play an adventure with mostly humans, like we're in a human world, like it would be in Phandelver.
Absolutely.
We would take the place by storm, wouldn't we?
So I'm looking, and we've been streaming for an hour and 50 minutes. It does not feel like that. I'll tell you that. Feels like it's been like 20 minutes. Just means we're having fun, right?
Yeah.
But if we want to wrap up here and do a 2-hour stream, the last thing that we really haven't done is just play around with the word generator and see if that affects your backstory at all. Okay.
We got 10 minutes for backstory. We have done some. We've already clan, parents, leadership role, running away from it. We've got some stuff. Okay.
So what we need is a number 1 through 100 from chat. And then Bonus Mom will pick her favorite number to look at. And we'll do like maybe 3 or 4 words. We'll see where we get with this.
Okay. Maybe we'll get a couple of 3 numbers, chat, and we'll just
need some numbers.
Yeah.
Let's see. I got it all. I got it up already. So let's see. Ooh, 97. That was fast.
Just say, well, hi, Nellie Jelly. Good to see you. Okay, but Nellie Jelly is giving us 2, other end of the spectrum. Great. And thanks for dropping in.
All right. So 97 or 2, which one do you want to start with?
97.
97. All right. 97 is, it is silver.
Okay.
Now, the reason I went, is because you're a copper dragonborn. Maybe there's a silver dragonborn in your life somewhere.
Okay. And hence some of my self-loathing maybe, or loathing directed in a direction. So, my parents are silver.
Ooh.
My parents are silver. Therefore, somebody is mad at somebody because I'm not. I'm copper. Okay? And so, one of the parents is constantly trying to defend my copper, and I am just feeling all of the anxiety of that and the anger from the other silver parent. So somebody is blaming somebody. So which way is it? Which way is it, chat? Is it mom or dad? First one in gets it. Who is the... Well, it would have to be mother. It would have to be mother because the father is silver. Yeah, it's mother. It has to be. It can't be anybody else. Mother is silver, but I'm copper. Dad's mad at mom. I'm feeling bad. I love mom. Yeah, so it has to be that way. It has to be mom.
So dad might be dad, and for some reason you came out as copper, and it could be somewhere down the line,
It could be a recessive in dad.
Trait.
Mom could be dead serious, about it's I don't know how Dragonborn have babies. Do we know that? That's worth looking into.
I read into it. One theory was, yes, they do lay eggs. So, what if you were mixed up at birth? What if an egg got mixed up?
Maybe that's what mom is trying to tell dad. That's like a big argument. My parents are silver, I'm copper. What went wrong? That just gives me everything right there that I need, or that any player would be, to try to defend mom, because she's going to get the blame. Or maybe mom had a one-night stand with the copper and she's lying about it, And maybe, I don't know. Maybe I just know it's a fight. And the parents are maybe even estranged, and I got the blame for it, and father wouldn't teach me. Maybe all that turns another look at maybe I ran away because of all that, or my father threw me out, or whatever. Yeah, that's it. Both my parents are silver. That works out perfectly. 2. What do we have for wonderful. 2?
Number 2. Okay. Number 2. Okay. Your word is pity. Pity.
Well, I pity my mother, because my father has abused her horribly. And that's another thing that absolutely sends me off the deep end, is when I see men being misogynistic towards any female of any species out there. I go into a furious rage. My mother suffered so much because it could have been a mistake. It could have been eggs mixed at birth. It could have been his recessive gene. If she vows and declares that she is innocent of this, and I believe her, and then he's mistreated her, maybe he even killed her,
Oh, no.
I don't know, and I ran away for that, and I'm vowing to kill him when I get strong enough and old enough. Could be.
Ooh.
Okay. Why I am where I'm going to be, wherever that is. One more number, chat, and then we're going to call it a done deal, because we're running out of time. If they lay eggs, one parent could think the other parent messed up. Yeah. See, and again, I don't even have to know what the truth of that situation is. But I'm going to pity the mom. Nellie loves it, but has to go. It's okay, Nellie. Thank you so much for stopping by. I need one more number from anybody, though. Well, or I could roll. You want me to roll another 100 if we're not up? 42. There you go.
42. The secret of life. Let's see. Okay. I'm curious where you're going to go with this. Doctor.
Okay. Because Dragonborn in this world that we're going to be in might not be the 5e world, might be our own world, are so unusual. I have heard of a study that is being done by a doctor, a researcher, a wizard, who says that if he has the scale of a dragon and the scale of the dragon's parents, that he can trace their lineage clear back to, say there is a mythical, how it all started. We don't have to get into that or whatever. And maybe that's not even really true, but I think it is. So I have carefully preserved, if she is no longer living, or I have gotten scales from both of my parents, and I am looking for this mythical person that I've heard of that can take those scales and find out. In other words, DNA, scale DNA, find out, am I my mother's child? Am I my father's child? Am I both of their childs?
D&D paternity test.
But Bonus Mom just invented D&D Murray.
Oh, no, Murray, the talk show. You are not the father. Yeah.
It could be, why not? But yeah, so I'm very carefully carrying around these dragon scales. They're both silver. Yeah, why not? And I'm looking for the answer to my parentage, and somewhere there's supposed to be this person who's done an enormous dragon study. Or I think there is.
Carrying 2 dragon-born scales, silver, in a protective pouch. Very nice. I like where this is going. So they have an ultimate goal. They're looking for this doctor to try and clear their mother's name, or if you are not your mother or your father's child, that would clear her name as well. And just at least get answers, because you're just curious. Even if the answer is, yeah, your mom cheated and she's been lying all this time, then at least you know. You have this goal that you're trying to get to, this person you're trying to find, and traveling isn't easy. So you hook up with a adventuring group, and you're searching for clues, but this doctor is not well known. You're gonna have to find the right person who knows about it.
Yeah, and maybe it doesn't even really actually exist, but I've heard that Dr. Murray is out there somewhere. That needs to be his name. We're looking for Murray.
Murray, I'll write it down.
Murray, the dragonborn expert. Okay, I think we got it.
All right.
This has been totally cool. One reason, yes, we're going for 2 hours, but we took, 10 or 15 minutes to talk about the ODL, and hopefully we got that out of the way and updated and whatever. Those things that need to be said sometimes. Okay, it is my opinion that we need a little magic in this group. What do you think? And who do you think, what is our next logical one? Is it cleric or druid or warlock or wizard or...
Let's see. We definitely need some magic in this group. You're right. And magic users include, let's see, bard, druid, cleric, wizard, sorcerer, and warlock. And I think they all have something that makes them more difficult to learn for beginners. Perhaps the easiest to start out with, off the top of my head, would be cleric or bard. And if anyone in chat disagrees and has a better idea, let me know. In my opinion, wizard and warlocks are the hardest to learn because they have so much to go on. And druid, those are definitely going to be towards the end.
Well, and warlocks have a lot, warlocks have a lot available to them, but don't get to do a lot of it, so they're kind of limited on what they can do. Clerics have the benefit of the magic and the healing. So.
Reese's first caster was a warlock. My first D&D character ever that I made was a druid. And I learned the hard way that they are very difficult. But, I guess trial by fire, you learn quickly. I think bard or cleric would be a good addition to this group because both of them have access to some healing. And bards, clerics are also melee. They also do a lot of combat with fighting, I should say. But bards are more supportive. So maybe we need something supportive in this group who can help some of our fighters land some hits and distract the enemies.
So bard
might be the best way to go next.
All righty. And it will be 2 weeks, so it's going to be like the Sunday after Valentine's Day. Like 14th, the 18th or something. I'm not looking at a calendar. Okay.
I'll pull it up right now. Let's see. We will be looking at the 12th, so 2 days before Valentine's Day.
Okay. Okay, well, let me tell you 2 things here to update, and then we really will put a stop on it. Biorvio and I, because I had done a TikTok like this, and he had too, where we challenged people to give us ideas for backstories, and we were going to build something real fast. And so we've done that once, and then things have kind of gotten in the way. So he and I are scheduled to do that next Sunday because he's playing game today. So that's out there. And if you're available and you want to jump in, we take ideas as we try to bring them from our TikToks or from games that we've had, and then the chat throws things in there. And some characters we take turns and build them individually. Some we worked on together, and every single one of them, plot development happened. Okay. And I did get that recorded, I'm pretty sure. Well, I have the TikTok from it because we do it on TikTok instead of Twitch because that suits him. I think it's going to be TikTok unless he changes his mind. Okay, so that's one thing. That's next Sunday. You're all invited back, and including Nerdy Teacher, and particularly for Nerdy Teacher to participate if she would like to. That is the first thing, and I've already forgotten what the second thing was. So it can't be very important, right? I had two things and I've already forgotten them. So you and I are going to get together next time for Bard. I also get together on Tuesday nights and we talk something about D&D, and I don't know that we have an idea for this Tuesday night, but at the same time that I'm doing a hangout in Discord and chat, and that's what it is. It doesn't go anywhere. It's just hang out in Discord and chat. Pixel and Beast are going to do a world building episode on Twitch through, I think, Ages of Minor, where Pixel is going to start into world building for Stars Without Numbers. And it's a learning process for them while they're sharing it with us. So 2 different things going on next Tuesday night. Somewhere in the PM, in the Eastern time zone, 5 to 7, somewhere around in there. And
don't forget, Bonus Mom goes live on TikTok too, almost every day. Pop in and say hi to her. You tend to do
Monday through Friday, about 9:30 to 10 in the morning. And Nerdy Teacher does TikToks constantly, and they're wonderful. So I've had a great time here. I know what the other thing was. Okay, so one of our main dungeon masters, who's very active in our community, is Doc Robert. Nerdy Teacher, I have just learned that Doc Robert is a min-maxer in a way. He loves to take characters and put everything into them that you can to make a character as strong as you can. I suspect that he picks an upper level character, and it's like, how can we, maybe he takes the character from 1 to 10 or 15 or whatever and makes choices that makes that character just almost invulnerable. And he does that as a player. Now, he almost never plays. He's more DM than player. But I've suggested that we try to tie him into this learning thing that we're doing here, for new players, experienced players who might be interested to how can I optimize my character to be indestructible? Because I spend all my time talking about their backstories. So just that's in the works. And he said he would love to come and take some of what we're doing and maybe spend some time talking about crafting and making a really strong character for battle performance, which is something I never talk about. So I'm fascinated by that. So I wanted to tell you that too.
Some people absolutely, despise the name min-maxer, and when that comes up, because it's the idea is how do I win at D&D? And you and I both are very much, there's no winning. We're just here to play and have fun and role play. And then it sounds like he's just doing it for the mechanical aspects of it, like which species is best for which class and so on, and what feats are great. And some people absolutely love that. So
they do
on that whatsoever. But people do love that.
and that's right. I picked that phrase just because it'll immediately tell you kind of what it is I'm talking about. It's not necessarily always meant in a positive way, but it should be, right? Because it's as much a part of the game as anything else. And there are folks who that's the part of the play they like the best. And why not? Because fun is fun. Whatever kind of, just like some people like the maps and you move in the hexagons. Some like the 5-foot squares. Some want it all in your head. It's all D&D and it's all good and it's all fun.
So many different ways to play.
Yeah. So we may be, and I would be interested to see how I could take my characters and get some really neat stuff that they could do in, whatever circumstance and have fun. So that's out there. That's another thing that's happened. And just to let you all know that we're trying to think of all the ways we can to make Dungeons and Dragons as understandable as we can, as easy to fall in love with, and as easy to be, that you would be encouraged then to play. What we're all about. And Nerdy Teacher and I love to hang out together. Nerdy Teacher, are you doing the convention in February that you were talking about?
Unfortunately, it's not looking like we're going to have time because it was last minute when they reached out to me, and the hotels are all booked up, so I don't think so.
So not going to, okay.
I just got confirmation yesterday, I think, that I will be a guest at MomoCon, which is an anime convention near Atlanta, I believe.
And when is it? Because I've been already talking about that you're going to be there.
May. It is the end of May.
It's the end of May.
It will literally be last day of school for me, and then I get to drive out to Atlanta. And that is definitely something we can talk about. I just got that information and hadn't even been able to share it with you. So I will be there as a guest. I will have miniature painting panels, and I believe at least one panel that will be discussing something about D&D. I kind of forget the specifics, and I need to call them and talk to them about it.
Well, we got into a discussion about sci-fi.
Clee? Clee would be Cleveland, I'm assuming. Let's see. Fan Expo Yep, Fan Expo Cleveland. I have never been. I would love to go. That sounds like fun. And Ohio is my home state, and gotta love Cleveland. So
Ohio's just north of me, northwest, I think, of where we are. So that might be very, very interesting. We can meet up.
So it'd be a long drive for you, but I could pick you up on the way.
Well, yeah, you spend the night here.
Oh, in 53 days, March 24th. That'd be my birthday week. So hey, who knows? We'll see. Well,
thank you. All suggestions are appreciated. So all of you, thank you for being with us. McReese, thank you for keeping notes and keeping us in, answering a couple of questions I had. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, Wizards. I heard of the Wizard convention. Okay. So now it's FanX. All right. Well, I'll take a look into it.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for everybody who has been here. This has been fun. Thank you for all of your input. Thank you, McReese. You were definitely the most talkative today. We appreciate you.
You all take care. Know that we care about you, and we look forward to seeing you as soon as possible. Take care now. Bye-bye.